This story kicks off in a massive mansion, where actor Chi-Jun is chilling in his private pool, enjoying a relaxing bath like a true superstar. Chi-Jun is a big-shot actor who firmly believes that no one in the industry can act better than him, basically a certified narcissist. Just then, his manager rushes in with some exciting news that one of the best directors in the industry has announced a new movie and is holding auditions for it. The manager insists that this is a golden opportunity for Chi-Jun to land the role. But let's be real, Chi-Jun and audition in the same sentence? Impossible. So, like the diva, Chi-Jun flat out refuses to audition and instead heads off to a press conference. At the event, his loyal fans eagerly await him because he has returned to China after a long time. They have gone all out to welcome their favorite star. As always, Chi-Jun charms the crowd effortlessly, and in the grand finale, he drops a bombshell that he won't be doing any movies for a while because he plans to take a break. His manager, naturally, is fuming after hearing Chi-Jun made this decision without consulting him, and worse, at the peak of his career. But Chi-Jun, he had already made up his mind. Meanwhile, on the other side of town, a cheerful and lively girl named Min Young was at an excavation site with her father. Like him, she was a well-known archaeologist and always made sure to take care of him. As they were working, Min Young lost her footing and was about to fall, but her father caught her just in time. Unfortunately, in the process, he ended up getting injured. Worried, Min Young rushed him to the hospital, where the doctor assured her that the injury wasn't serious. However, the real concern was something else entirely. The doctor explained that they had conducted some tests because they noticed something unusual in her father's abdomen, something that might indicate cancer. When the doctor asked about her mother, Min Young replied that it was just the two of them. Her parents had divorced long ago, and since then her father had raised her alone. Hearing this shocking news left Min Young completely shaken. The thought of losing the only family she had was unbearable. When her father regained consciousness, he insisted that Min Young go home and celebrate because it was her birthday. Besides, it would take some time for the test results to arrive. Reluctantly, Min Young agreed and they prepared to head home. On the other hand, aspiring actress Chin Zi-King was busy preparing for an audition for the very same movie Chi-Jun had refused. Coincidentally, Chi-Jun's manager was also present in the same building. Determined to bring Chi-Jun back into the project, he came up with a cunning plan that he sent Zi-King straight to Chi-Jun's room. The moment Chi-Jun saw her, he was stunned. Zi-King was none other than his ex-girlfriend. Trying to mask his surprise, Chi-Jun wasted no time boasting about his achievements. 3 years ago, I wasn't as powerful as I am today, he declared smugly, but now I have the power to get anything I want. So, Chi-Jun, being the overconfident guy he is, tells Zi-King to come back to him. But she isn't having any of it. She snaps back, saying that even 3 years ago, he never really understood why they broke up, and he still doesn't. Before leaving, she firmly tells Chi-Jun to stay away from her because she has absolutely no interest in him anymore. And with that, she walks out. But Chi-Jun wasn't going to let her go that easily. Soon after, he learns that Zi-King has signed the very same movie he had rejected. And just like that, Chi-Jun changes his mind that he's doing the movie. His so-called retirement plan had now canceled. Meanwhile, Min Young arrives home only to find the door open. Alarmed, she storms in, ready to fight off an intruder, only to end up attacking her own siblings, who had actually planned a surprise birthday party for her. After some laughter, the party goes on. During dinner, the TV is on, and a news report about Min Young's mother, Lily, appears. Her father, visibly upset, gets up and leaves. Turns out, Lily is none other than the director of the same movie Chi-Jun and Zi-King are now involved in. Seeing her father so affected by this, Min Young feels terrible. The next morning, Min Young's entire world shatters as her father has been diagnosed with last-stage stomach cancer. The doctor bluntly tells her that he doesn't have much time left and advises her to keep him happy in his final days. Min Young is devastated but determined. If there's one thing she can do, it's make sure her father spends his remaining days with a smile. And for that, she decides to reunite him with her mother. On the other side of town, Chi-Jun is on his way to sign the movie contract when a so-called fan dramatically throws himself in front of Chi-Jun's car. Annoyed, Chi-Jun tells his manager to deal with it because he has zero patience for these antics. He then ditches the car and continues on foot toward the office. And that's when he bumps into Min Young. At that exact moment, Chi-Jun, without turning back, says, "Come with me." Min Young, on the other hand, is there to meet her mother, but her mother's secretary won't let her in. Seeing an opportunity, she sneaks into the elevator with Chi-Jun. Chi-Jun notices her and smirks, thinking that another crazy fan is following me around. Little does he know that this girl isn't interested in him at all. When Min Young completely ignores Chi-Jun, he finally speaks up, assuming she's a journalist. But not just any journalist, but a small-time one, of course, because According to him, he knows all the big names in the industry. He lectures her, saying she should focus on her career instead of wasting time on celebrity gossip. Min Young stares at him, thinking, what on earth is this guy rambling about? As soon as the elevator reaches her floor, she steps out without another glance at Chi-jun. This stings his ego. How dare a random girl not give him the attention he deserves? Meanwhile, the receptionist on Min Young's floor gets suspicious, realizing she doesn't have an appointment. She starts questioning Min Young, but Min Young tries to dodge her. On the other side of the building, Chi-jun meets with the casting manager, Lin Yang. He confidently declares that he finds this role challenging and therefore wants to do the movie. They proceed to sign the contract. Coincidentally, Min Young, after escaping the receptionist and security, has hidden inside that very same room. Chi-jun tells Ziqing that she can't keep running away from him, but once again, she coldly shuts him down. You'll never understand what love truly is, she says before walking out. Min Young, hiding under a desk, witnesses the whole exchange. Just then, her phone rings loudly. Chi-jun immediately looks down, spotting her under the desk. Determined to stop her, he starts chasing after her, but Min Young, using her quick thinking, manages to slip away. As Chi-jun enters the elevator exhausted, he sighs, convinced that by tomorrow, his humiliation will be all over the news. At the same time, Lin Yang goes to see his boss and his father. His father is more concerned about his younger son, Lin Shu. He had just arrived from abroad and was already causing trouble. Apparently, the moment he landed, he tried to escape from the airport, refusing to go home. His father orders Lin Yang to find him. Not long after, security successfully catches Lin Shu and starts bringing him back to the company. Coincidentally, another security team is also dragging Min Young toward the same area. And then, they literally collide. Seizing the opportunity, Lin Shu grabs Min Young's hand and makes a run for it, dragging her along. Now, Min Young is utterly confused. Who is this guy, and why on earth is he running away with me? Lin Shu had already recognized Min Young because they were childhood friends and had studied together. Min Young thanked him and told Lin Shu that they should now go their separate ways since their work was done. However, just then, the security personnel returned, so Lin Shu grabbed Min Young's hand and got on a children's bus with her. He started acting just as he used to in their childhood, which made Min Young recognize him as well. They then went to a cafe to catch up since they were meeting after 10 years. As they talked and reminisced about old times, Lin Shu's bodyguards arrived again. Min Young jokingly said that it seemed like his bodyguards loved him a lot. Meanwhile, Chi-jun's designer was showing him different outfits for his upcoming event, but before the designer could finish, Chi-jun dismissed them, saying that those designs had been used before. Frustrated, he fired the designer. His manager also told the designer that they should have been more careful, as Chi-jun never changes his mind once he commits to something. At home, Min Young told her siblings about her day and how security had prevented her from meeting her mother. However, these were not her biological siblings, but Min Young's father had adopted them. Her younger brother James encouraged her not to lose hope and to keep trying for their father's sake. Meanwhile, her sister V suggested that she apply for a job at Yang Entertainment. After thinking about it, Min Young decided to follow her advice. Yang Entertainment's heirs were none other than Lin Yang and Li Zhi. Their father, Senior Lin, tried convincing Lin Shu to return to the company, but when he refused, his father blocked all his credit cards. He told him that he wouldn't receive any financial support until he started working in the company. However, after their father left, Lin Shu's elder brother, who always helped him, gave him his credit card. Ling Shu was overjoyed and planned to escape from home the next day. Unfortunately for him, he ended up standing right in front of his father's car. His father, assuming that Ling Shu was now ready to join the office, assigned him to the communication department. Left with no choice, Ling Shu had to start working there. Meanwhile, Min Young arrived at Yang Entertainment for a job interview. The position was for a personal secretary. On the other hand, Chi-jun had checked all the newspapers and TV news, but he found nothing about any scandal. The manager informed Chi-jun about hiring a secretary, but Chi-jun strictly refused, stating that no fan should become his secretary. In the past, all the applicants had been his obsessed fans, and one girl had gone to the extreme of refusing to leave. When she didn't get her way, she stubbornly demanded the exact cup Chi-jun had just used for his coffee. Because of such experiences, Chi-jun wanted someone who was not his fan. One by one, candidates were being rejected and they left crying. When it was Min Young's turn, everyone was confused as to why a paleontologist was applying for this job. Min Young explained that she had left her previous job to take care of her father and that she wanted to join the company because she was a fan of the director, not Chi-jun. The manager, who was listening, decided to test the candidates by throwing several autographed pictures onto the floor. While all the other girls scrambled to grab them, Min Young remained indifferent. while Lin Xiu changed his name to Leo because obviously his father strictly prohibited him not to tell anyone his real name, and everyone kept assigning him endless tasks. Seeing this, the manager decided to make him Chi-jun's assistant and took him to meet Chi-jun. The moment they saw each other, both were utterly shocked. Chi-jun immediately took out his phone and checked her photos and videos, trying to find something suspicious, but found nothing. Still, he fired Lin Xiu on the spot as he continued to distrust Min Young. He even humiliated her before walking away. However, Min Young needed this job for his father, so she endured the insult. Outside, she ran into Lin Xiu and explained everything. She asks for his help to become Ji-jun's assistant again. Lin Xiu informed his brother about the situation, and they told Ji-jun's manager that, according to the contract, Ji-jun had to follow Yang Entertainment's decisions. This meant that Min Young would remain his assistant. Frustrated, Ji-jun vowed to make Min Young's life so difficult that she would quit within 5 days. The next day, Min Young arrived at work and met Lin Xiu on the way. They laughed and chatted, which Ji-jun noticed. He then knew that it was Lin who was behind this, so he decided to trouble Min Young by ordering her to bring his photo shoot outfits at the last moment. She managed to get them in time, but Ji-jun smirked evilly and told her he wouldn't wear those clothes after all. Min Young was furious, but she kept quiet. After the photo shoot, she accompanied Ji-jun as he interacted with his fans. A fan gave him a puppy, and to everyone's surprise, Ji-jun accepted it. Just when Min Young thought her work was done for the day, Ji-jun called her back, as there were no fixed working hours in her contract. Exhausted, she returned to him, only to find that he had called her simply because he didn't want to keep the puppy. Annoyed, Min Young asked why he accepted it in the first place, then started feeding the puppy and named it Junu, which is a name similar to Chi-jun's. Both Min Young and the manager laughed at this. Seeing Min Young's reaction, the manager explained that Chi-jun wasn't always this way. Life had never been kind to him, which was why he had become so rude. He then suggested that Min Young attend a meeting in his place, because he hoped that it would make Chi-jun realize something. Min Young, meanwhile, played happily with the puppy. However, when she got home, she developed rashes because the puppy hadn't been vaccinated. Min Young was scared, but she had to go to the office. The next day, as soon as she arrived at the company, Chi-jun saw her outside the elevator and quickly tried to close the doors, but Min Young managed to get in. She told him that no matter how much he ignored her, she wouldn't quit. When Chi-jun noticed the marks on her skin, Min Young explained that they were his fault. As soon as Chi-jun learned that Min Young planned to attend the meeting with him, he flatly refused. However, this time Min Young blackmailed him, saying that if he didn't take her, she would reveal Xing's affair with him. To prove her point, she even pretended to tell his assistant, but Chi-jun quickly dragged her into his office. That day, Chi-jun had an interview because people saw him as a warm-hearted actor for adopting the puppy. However, the puppy refused to go near him, which secretly amused Min Young. Finally, Chi-jun promised that if she helped him handle the puppy, he would take her to the next meeting. Min Young agreed, and after successfully taking pictures with the puppy, Chi-jun's interview ended smoothly. Min Young doubted that Chi-jun would keep his word, but he turned out to be true to his promise and took her to the next meeting. This meeting was with none other than Min Young's mother, Lily, who was a film director. Seeing her, Min Young became emotional and wanted to call her mom and tell her everything. However, Lily remained completely professional and they conducted the meeting formally. After the meeting, Lily left, and Min Young followed her and called her mom and spoke. However, Chi-jun and his assistant also arrived. Before Min Young could process the situation, Lily coldly told her not to talk about her father and to never address her as mom in the office. She made it clear that she had no connection with Min Young's father and left. Hearing this, Min Young broke down in tears, and for the first time, Chi-jun felt bad for her. Chi-jun's assistant was about to call Min Young back to finalize the details, but Chi-jun stopped her, saying that Min Young probably needed to be alone for now. Heartbroken, Min Young was heading back when she entered the elevator. Suddenly, an actress pushed her out, saying that the elevator was overloaded. Ling Xiu was too in the elevator, and after glaring at the actress, he pushed her out and quickly pulled Min Young back into the elevator. This angered the new actress, Faye. Min Young arrived at the photo shoot feeling determined, convinced that she would eventually win her mother's heart. Seeing her, Chi-jun asked her to deliver his lunchbox to director Lily. Overjoyed, Min Young took it to her mother. Meanwhile, Faye was trying to trap Lin Xiu in her love game. She obtained a list of all employees with the surname Lin, knowing that Lin Xiu must be using a different name. As expected, Jin Lin Xiu had disguised himself as Lin Leo. On the other hand, when Min Young met her mother, Lily showed no happiness at seeing her and returned the lunchbox. Min Young even told her about her father's cancer, but it made no difference. Instead, Lily handed her a card for a famous oncologist and coldly said that if Min Young needed money, she could ask for it. Min Young arrived at the shoot, hiding her tears, but Chi-jun noticed everything. Instead of giving her any tasks, he kept calling his manager repeatedly, clearly avoiding making her work. Min Young, however, did her best to conceal her emotions from everyone. Meanwhile, Faye was roaming around the office meeting multiple employees, but she still couldn't figure out who Lin Siew was. On the other hand, Lin Siew's seniors dumped all their work on him, even sending him to get coffee. Frustrated at not finding Lin Siew, Faye decided to take revenge on Min Young for the elevator incident. When she saw Min Young carrying some clothes and heading towards the elevator, she maliciously removed the danger sign from the broken lift. Min Young stepped in, unaware, and just then, Lin Siew also entered. As soon as Min Young said his name when he was inside, Faye realized that he was the young heir of Yang Entertainment. Moments later, both were trapped as the faulty elevator malfunctioned. They were eventually rescued, but as soon as Lin Siew stepped out, he lashed out at the construction workers for failing to put up a warning sign. Min Young, in a hurry, left quickly, not realizing she had dropped her phone. Lin Siew noticed and kept it with him. Seizing the opportunity, Faye sneaked into Lin Xiu's computer. She found an old social media photo of Lin Xiu with his father and brother, and the revelation shocked everyone in the office. The employees suddenly realized they had been mistreating the son of their own boss. Just then, Lin Xiu returned with coffee and casually mentioned to his boss that he had accidentally added sugar to all the cups and would replace them. But his terrified boss immediately drank the coffee, nervously declaring, "From now on, you are my boss." When Lin Xiu saw Faye was there, he coldly told her to leave, calling her a two-faced scheming girl. Meanwhile, Chi-jun had grown attached to Junwoo the puppy. When he needed something, he called Min Young's phone, only for Lin Xiu to answer instead. To make matters worse, Lin Xiu referred to Chi-jun as T-Rex, since Min Young had saved his name after the dinosaur. Chi-jun was furious, first because of the nickname, and second because another man was answering Min Young's phone. Lin Xiu, enjoying the moment, simply said he was Min Young's special friend before hanging up. Now burning with jealousy, Chi-jun started researching Tyrannosaurus Rex, trying to understand what Min Young meant. As soon as Min Young returned, Chi-jun furiously confronted her, demanding to know why she saved his name as T-Rex. Min Young, always sharp, quickly came up with an explanation. She claimed she had done it to protect his privacy, as if any of his crazy fans ever stole her phone, they wouldn't recognize the number. Chi-jun couldn't argue against that logic, but he was still annoyed. To get back at her, he assigned her the disgusting task of cleaning up after Junwoo's poop. After Min Young completed that task, she quickly began monitoring Chi-jun's workout. But then, his manager suddenly walked in and told Min Young that he had just received a call from the hospital. Since Min Young had listed his number as an emergency contact, they had called to inform him that her father had collapsed. Chi-jun, shocked, watched as Min Young immediately rushed to the hospital. Her siblings were already there, and as soon as they learned about their father's condition, they turned on Min Young in anger. They demanded to know why she had kept them in the dark about his health. But father insists that he didn't want to trouble anyone, so he told Min Young to keep quiet. Min Young, however, wastes no time in spilling the tea to her siblings, as she desperately wants their father to reunite with their mother in his final days, and that's precisely why she accepted Chi-jun's job offer. Inspired by this emotional cause, the three siblings declare their new mission to Operation Reunite Mom and Dad. Meanwhile, Faye is in full-on seduction mode. She dresses up like Lin Xiu's favorite idol. She mimicked her exact style and demeanor, hoping to lure him in. With her assistant's help, she devises a master plan that she'll accidentally spill coffee on Lin Xiu, then nobly offer to help clean his shirt. After that, she led him straight to the washroom and presumably into her trap. Faye is positively thrilled and is just about to execute her foolproof plan when suddenly Min Young calls Lin Xiu over. Completely ignoring Faye's existence, Lin Xiu hands Min Young her phone back and starts chatting with her instead. Poor Faye, caught off guard, ends up spilling coffee all over herself instead. Furious, she fumes as how could Lin Xiu be so engrossed in talking to Min Young that he didn't even notice her. Lin Xiu then tells Min Young that the piece of art she's holding is crucial for an upcoming shoot. Faye, eavesdropping like a seasoned villain, decides to get back at Min Young by sneakily breaking the artwork. Jun also arrived at the photo shoot location, and the moment he learned from his manager that Ching would be coming too, his scheming brain went into overdrive. He quickly instructed his manager to steal Ching's car keys at the right moment. That way, when she'd be stranded without a ride, Jun could swoop in and graciously offer her a lift in front of everyone, leaving her with no choice but to accept. Meanwhile, Faye, still holding on to her grudge of the century against Minnie, decided it was time for some petty revenge. Spotting the valuable art piece Minnie had been so concerned about, she casually shoved it by sending it crashing to the floor. When director Lily finds out, she scolds Min Young harshly, claiming she can't even do a single task properly. Just as Min Young is about to melt into a puddle of embarrassment, the manager swoops in to de-escalate the situation, suggesting that the art department simply remake the piece. Meanwhile, Lin Shu is living his best life in his office, basking in VIP treatment from everyone, though he has no idea why. He's so relaxed, he doesn't even bother working on the project assigned to him by Senior Lin. Instead, his seniors complete it for him. In the office, an unfortunate mistake at work results in Senior Lin unleashing his wrath on his son Lin Yang. Turns out Lin Yang had recently been made CEO of the company, and his father had expectations. But his little slip-up embarrassed Senior Lin in front of his own uncle, and now Lin Yang is seething with rage, so much so that he takes it out on his assistant. Then, the real family drama unfolds. Senior Lin casually drops a bombshell that his two sons, Lin Shu and Lin Yang, are actually stepbrothers. Yep, they have different mothers. Despite loving both of them equally, Senior Lin always felt Lin Shu needed him more due to his reckless nature. He also believed Lin Shu had greater potential, while Yang was just performing competence rather than actually possessing it. So they decide to meet Lin Shu, only to find that instead of working, he was watching videos. He was enjoying some first-class prince treatment at the office. Annoyed, they summon both brothers back and demand an explanation from Lin Shu. Why on earth did he reveal his identity? Lin Shu, already irritated, blurts out that he has no interest in working for this company and is planning to leave. But his father, in peak dramatic fashion, snatches Chi Jun's movie contract away from Lin Yang and hands it to Lin Shu instead. He also declares him as the CEO of the company, that maybe a big responsibility will finally knock some sense into his younger son. And by the way, this is his final decision, no backsies. Lin Shu is not thrilled about this, but Lin Yang is even more furious. After all, he had poured his blood, sweat, and tears to get to this position. However, being the master of self-control that he is, he keeps a straight face and says absolutely nothing. Meanwhile, Min Young rushes to the art department, asking them to recreate the unique piece that was broken. The head of the department, however, informs her that they're already swamped with work. If she wants a new piece made, she'll have to get Lin Yang's approval. When Qing and Chi Jun are busy with their movie photo shoot, the manager manages to swipe Qing's car keys from her purse while she's distracted. Later, when Qing starts looking for them, because obviously she has another shot to get, Chi Jun's manager conveniently suggests that she should just ride with Chi Jun. Now, Qing isn't stupid. She immediately realizes this is all part of Chi Jun's grand scheme. Not one to be played, she calls for a security check. Chi Jun's manager, suddenly sweating bullets, panics and quickly hides the keys inside her own old clothes. Then, playing it cool, he says, "Well, before checking everyone else, maybe you should check your own clothes first." Then Qing's sharp-eyed secretary actually finds the keys and hands them over. Without a second thought, Qing takes off, leaving Chi Jun standing there watching his brilliant plan crash and burn. Meanwhile, Min Young, having received zero help from the craft department, decides to piece the broken statue back together herself. Lily, seeing her struggle, chooses to completely ignore her. After all, in Lily's book, whoever breaks it, fixes it. Just then, they hear that Chi Junu is playing in the fountain, so Chi Jun and Min Young rush to save him. But, in the process, Min Young ends up getting hurt. Even when Chi Jun asks her about it, she pretends like nothing happened. Later, because of the injury on her hand, Min Young struggles to bathe Junu, and that's when Chi Jun steps in to help. Using Junu as an excuse, the two start splashing water at each other and end up having fun. After the photo shoot, Qing goes to meet her boyfriend, who was surprisingly turns out to be none other than Lin Yang. He had told her to keep their relationship private, but Qing actually wanted to make it public. Still, for his sake, she kept quiet. Meanwhile, Chi Jun is worried about Min Young, so while touching her hair, he tells her she doesn't need to stress at all. Min Young then goes back to working on a statue, but her injured hand makes it difficult to fix it properly. When Chi Jun sees this, he goes to the art department and makes a deal that if they fix the statue in a short time, he'll take them all out for dinner. However, by the time Min Young exhausts herself and falls asleep, Chi Jun takes it upon himself to fix the statue and places it back in its spot. The next morning, when Min Young wakes up, she can't believe how it got fixed overnight. The next day was the movie's press conference, where the film's new producer, Lin Shu, was also present, but the poor guy looked completely lost. To make things worse, journalists kept bombarding him with questions. Sensing the situation, Chi-jun stepped in and confidently declared that he was taking this movie very seriously, so much so that he even hired a paleontologist as his assistant to ensure the film was well researched. Chi-jun had started taking extra care of Min-young as well. After the conference, Min-young went to her mom and asked her to talk to her father since he missed her a lot. Lily didn't say anything at that moment, but later, while looking at old photos, she got emotional. Meanwhile, it turns out Lin Yang was the mastermind behind putting Lin Shu in this tricky situation. His goal was to become the sole heir of Yang Entertainment. He had already planned that after the conference, he would present a brilliant solution to his father and emerge as the hero of the day. He also was busy gaslighting Lin Shu, constantly reassuring him that he'd always be there for him, no matter what he needed. After the conference, Chi-jun took the entire team out for dinner and spent the evening clicking pictures with everyone, one by one. Min-young arrived too, completely clueless at first, but soon the staff spilled the beans, leaving her confused. Why was Chi-jun doing so much for her? He had dedicated an entire day just for this dinner. On the other hand, Min-young's father's case had been transferred to the country's top oncologist, all thanks to Lily, because every day she would stand outside the hospital, waiting for Min-young's father. But she never gathered the courage to actually walk in. Inside the hospital, Min-young was taking care of her father, but deep down, she was miserable. Eventually, she broke down in tears. Her father gently comforted her, saying, "Everyone has to go someday. I don't want you to be sad when my time comes." To make matters worse, when she returned home, she found out that Junwoo had also fallen seriously ill. Without a second thought, she rushed to the hospital again, this time with Chi-jun. But holding it all in was impossible now that she broke down in front of Chi-jun, telling him everything that had been weighing on her heart. Seeing her pain, Chi-jun made up his mind. He would help Min-young reunite her parents. The very next day, he met Min-young's father, and to his surprise, he was beyond thrilled, because Min-young's father was a paleontologist, just like Chi-jun's character in the movie. Talk about destiny. The following day, Lin Shu met Min-young with a heavy heart. He finally confessed that he never wanted to work here, as he was only doing it because his father forced him. In fact, his father had always controlled his life, so much so that Lin Shu had even run away from home once. Back then, it was Min-young who had convinced him to return, and now, once again, she reminded him that sooner or later, he would have to take over the family business. Maybe it was time to stop fighting it. That day, something changed in Lin Shu. From then on, he decided to fully focus on his work. The movie's shooting location was finally decided, and Lin Shu started showing up on time, partly because he was actually getting interested in the work, and partly because Min-young was always on set. A few days later, Chi-jun started asking Min-young for tips on how to impress Ching. But during their conversation, Min-young realized something shocking, that Chi-jun didn't even know that Ching was allergic to peanuts. In fact, he barely knew anything about her likes and dislikes. She pointed out that maybe he wasn't actually in love with Ching, but just emotionally attached. Chi-jun, being stubborn, refused to accept it. So Min-young decided to take him to a park to observe real couples in action. Unfortunately, even with a mask on, Chi-jun was recognized instantly, and a crowd started chasing him. To escape, they ran into a haunted house, where Chi-jun, despite trying to act all tough, was scared out of his mind. He kept insisting that he was a Sigma male, but the moment a creepy voice echoed through the house, he panicked and grabbed Min-young in a tight hug. Eventually, they managed to get out. Meanwhile, Lin Yang had been betraying Yang Entertainment from the very beginning. He would leak scandals about the company's stars, create controversies, and then swoop in like a hero to fix the problems he had orchestrated himself. Back at home, Chi-jun was watching Ching on TV, lost in thought. He suddenly remembered how, when Ching was poor, she used to call a small, rundown hotel her castle. Inspired, he decided to propose to her again, but this time, properly. He shared his grand plan with Min-young, but she already knew that Chi-jun was doing all this out of his ego, not love. So, she stayed silent. Chi-jun executed his plan perfectly and proposed to Ching again, but this time, instead of getting angry, Ching calmly explained that there was never any real love between them and it was just an attachment. She gently told him that it was time to move on. Getting rejected for a second time, Chi-jun was completely deflated. He felt so humiliated that he refused to go to the movie set the next day. His manager, somehow convincing him that Ching wouldn't be there, dragged him back to work. But the moment Chi-jun saw Ching on set, he realized he had been tricked. Furious, he faked a stomachache and ran off. No matter how much his manager begged, he refused to return. Seeing all this, Min-young went to talk to Ching and revealed the real reason behind Chi-jun's behavior. It wasn't just about the rejection, but he was ashamed of how he had treated Ching in the past. He wasn't avoiding her because of his pride, but he simply didn't know how to apologize. Min Young pleaded with Ching to give him a chance. Ching agreed, and according to their plan, Min Young put her on a call while tricking Chi Jun into confessing everything. When Chi Jun realized Min Young, his own secretary, had been spying on him, he was furious. But just then, Ching appeared and forgave him. The awkwardness between them finally disappeared, and they were able to complete the day's shoot smoothly. That night, Chi Jun sat at home watching his own videos, endlessly praising himself. But somewhere in the middle of it all, he finally understood that he never really loved Jing. Just then, Min Young arrived to pick up Junwoo and happened to see the same actress on TV, the one Lin Yang had deliberately framed in a scandal. It suddenly clicked in her mind that she had seen this girl one night at a hotel. She had been unconscious and some man was carrying her away. But at that time, Min Young had been in such a hurry that she didn't say anything. Meanwhile, Lin Yang used this situation to his advantage and made his way back into the company, stronger than before. Lin Shu had no choice but to gracefully step down from his position, but he was still the part of the movie. The next day, Senior Lin hosted a grand party at home to celebrate his birthday, inviting everyone, including Min Young. The party had all sorts of fun events, including a cooking competition. Seeing this, Min Young felt sad because she missed her mom's homemade food and it had been ages since she last had it. Lin Shu, noticing her sadness, bought her a small toy to cheer her up. The moment Min Young saw it, her face lit up with happiness. But Chi Jun, watching them laugh together, couldn't stand it. His jealousy flared up, and he immediately dragged Min Young away. Meanwhile, Ching once again asked Lin Yang to make their relationship public, but he refused, saying they should keep things professional to avoid affecting the movie. The next day, Lin Shu invited Min Young to dinner with Lin Yang, and Chi Jun was not happy about it. He was burning with jealousy, but couldn't say a word. Min Young went to dinner with the two brothers, but Chi Jun kept calling her repeatedly, annoying her and telling her to come back. She ignored him and finished dinner, but on her way home she felt like someone was following her. As she started running, she twisted her ankle and fell. Just then, Chi Jun called and Min Young quickly told him what was happening, but instead of rushing over, Chi Jun mocked her, saying he wouldn't come to save her. He even joked about calling her rich friend who fed her dinner. Of course, he was lying, and he showed up in disguise, wearing a mask, and carried Min Young away like a piggyback ride. As they walked, Min Young reminisced about her childhood, telling Chi Jun that her father used to carry her like this too. Chi Jun, pretending to be offended, asked, "Do I look that old to you?" Min Young laughed and called him an idiot before explaining, "If a girl compares a guy to her father, it means she feels safe with him." The next day, as always, the rivalry between Chi Jun, the actor, and Lin Shu, the producer, continued. But it wasn't just about the movie, but they were both clearly jealous over Min Young. The next day, Chi Jun had an event at an orphanage. While he liked kids, they often annoyed him, so he wanted to skip it. Unfortunately for him, his manager had other plans and dragged him there anyway. At first, Chi Jun was enjoying his time at the orphanage, but soon the kids started overwhelming him. To handle the situation, he bought them a bunch of dinosaur toys. However, the ever-watchful journalist spun the story, publishing headlines that Chi Jun was bribing children with expensive gifts and setting a bad example. Chi Jun was completely baffled about how things had gone so wrong. His manager quickly came up with an idea that Chi Jun should take the kids to a dinosaur museum and explain that he gave them the toys so they would learn something educational. It was a solid plan, but there was one big problem, that Chi Jun now had to study dinosaurs, and the only person who could teach him is his secretary, Min Young. So Min Young started her paleontology class, but Chi Jun found it unbearably boring. He made an excuse, sending Min Young away to get food, and used the opportunity to sneak back home. When Min Young returned to the office apartment, she found Chi Jun missing. Even worse, the place was covered with eerie horror symbols, and suddenly, the lights went out. It turned out that the culprit behind this was none other than Lin Yang's henchman, the same man Min Young had seen at the hotel that night. He was trying to scare Min Young into silence, because he was scared that she might remember his face and expose him. However, Min Young didn't even recognize him, and she assumed that Chi Jun was behind the prank, trying to scare her for fun. Later, Chi Jun called Min Young to tease her, but when he learned what had actually happened, he rushed over with Junwoo to rescue her. Min Young still believed it was Chi Jun's doing, but Chi Jun insisted that he had nothing to do with it. He suspected that one of his obsessive fans might be responsible, so he ordered his manager to check the CCTV footage. The next day, Chi Jun and Min Young took the kids to the museum. To everyone's surprise, Chi-jun explained everything to them quite well. Despite hating studying, he was still smart. While at the museum, he noticed Min-young enthusiastically teaching the kids about T-Rex. Watching her, he suddenly recalled the phone number incident and smiled to himself. Meanwhile, Min-young's father's surgery date had been finalized. One last time, she went to plead with her mother to fulfill her father's final wish to meet her, but Lily remained silent, refusing to give any response. Heartbroken, Min-young left. Chi-jun, who had noticed everything, decided to take action. He went to director Lily and told her that he knew her secret, the one she had been hiding from everyone. Chi-jun explained that after meeting Min-young's father and learning his story, he was convinced that his own character in the movie was entirely based on Min-young's father.